Something that's absolutely amazing about the Super Mario Bros. Franchise is the insane amount of content that Nintendo packs in its rather simplistic games, where I've already made tons of videos highlighting the most interesting aspects of it. One specific thing I've never looked at are the blocks, where today, I want to start this subject by looking at the rarest one in every single entry, explaining when you can bonk off these square objects, and exactly how they function. Rareness here is based on how often these blocks appear in the entire game, or if they're found in one specific spot, even if it's in large quantities, if that makes sense. And oh yeah, before we get started, my name is Copycat, and if you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe, and hit that bell to stay notified when I upload in the future. The first game to be released in the series is Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo Entertainment System, where the rarest block you can find within it are the hidden ones, that are invisible until you bonk them. In this game, you'll either be rewarded with a 1-up mushroom, or a secret vine that leads you to a warp area. But either way, the blocks themselves are always in the most out-of-the-way spots, so finding them without a guide would take forever. A lot of other games in this series also have this block, so for time's sake I won't go over all of them, unless they are worth mentioning, so just know that they are there. The next game to come out in Western markets on the NES is Super Mario Bros. 2, but I can at least say it does introduce one of the coolest in the POW, happening here to also be the rarest. This isn't something that can be bonked off of, and instead needs to be picked up then thrown somewhere on the stage, which causes a gigantic quake to emanate from it. This kills any enemy that's on the screen at all when this occurs, helping you immensely, although, again, only in the few instances where it does show up. The final installment of the original NES trilogy, titled Super Mario Bros. 3, came out in North America in 1990, containing a couple hard-to-find blocks I want to talk about, starting with the Magic Music Note block. These are the pink variants of the regular white note blocks, that when bonked off of send you flying way up in the air, transporting you to that level's coin heaven, where here you can collect dozens of those goodies, plus a 1-up if you're powered up in raccoon form. The catch is that these magical note blocks at first appear invisible and need to be bonked off of to initially uncover, which, again, without a guide or someone with secondhand knowledge, makes it nearly impossible to come across them all. The only other block from this title that fits into this category are the Mega Question Mark blocks, which of course are gigantic versions of the regular ones, but here usually containing a much better prize. This is most likely a 1-up, or a group of them, or some kind of special power-up like the Tanuki suit, frog suit, or hammer suit, which when found in levels is always in a very secret sub-area that more often than not is hard to get to. They can also be found throughout the giant land of World 4, as everything here is bigger than normal, but otherwise they are rare and you won't normally see them that often. The first game to be playable on a handheld system was Super Mario Land for the Game Boy, where the rarest block from it is definitely the elevator/lift ones, found within this entry's underground levels. These are in worlds 1-3 and 3-2, where they at first are invisible, but when bonked off spawn a block with a small platform on top, that when stepped on, allows you to ride it all the way to the top of the screen. This is the only way to get to the coins and goodies that at first seem unreachable, in one instance leading you to a pipe that lets you get to a sub-area, which is a nice bonus. Next of the mainline games to be released is Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, which has a few blocks that are rare and I want to showcase, starting with the bonus ones, that don't show up much in the game, but give you a useful prize if you've met certain conditions. That's if you collected 30 coins in the level that the block's located in, which gives you a 1-up for your troubles, but if you haven't done that, you'll get one measly little coin instead. The only place these are found in are Yoshi's Island 3, Donut Plains 3, Butterbridge 1, and Chocolate Island 3. Another block that barely shows up at all are the ice blocks, where in this title, they can only be seen in the awesome Special World stage. These here act like a frozen version of the rotating blocks that also have a slippery surface when you platform on them, which makes completing the stage very tough, where you have to pull off some very pinpoint jumps under these hectic conditions. The final ones I want to showcase are the red question mark blocks that are only found near the very end of Bowser's Castle, just before the boss fight. which act here as a switch, as when bonked they turn on the lights in the room, helping you navigate better. These have no other function at all, which is a bit disappointing, but at least is random in a good way, and is interesting enough to talk about here. The second handheld entry to come out in the franchise is Super Mario Land 2 that was also playable on the Game Boy, containing several rare blocks I want to look at, starting with the flashing ones that light up when the stage goes dark. These only appear in the first and third Pumpkin Zone stages, and have no other function other than providing you light, looking cool, and being able to be platformed on. Another rare one that can only be interacted with if you're Fire Mario are the fiery blocks, which ironically aren't fiery at all, and just acts as an obstacle that gets in your way. These usually lead to hidden exits, and therefore secret levels within the different zones, something that might require you to return to these stages a few times to properly find. Lastly, there are also hidden blocks that you can uncover pretty much in every single stage of this entry, sometimes needing to use them as a sort of staircase to reach higher up secrets, and therefore alternate exits. The very first entry to be released in the 3D realm was Super Mario 64 for the N64, which has two blocks/boxes I want to look at that could be considered rare, starting with the Crazed Crates, where at least one is found in Big Boo's Haunt, the Shifting Sandlands, Lethal Lava Land, and Tall Tall Mountain. When you try to grab these weird looking blocks, this causes them to go absolutely nuts, bouncing you 3 times erratically around the course, breaking after the third bounce to reveal you coins. These strange crates would never show up again in the franchise in any capacity, and honestly, they're such an enigma, I almost forgot about them entirely. The only other thing I want to mention is the slide box that is found in Jolly Roger's Bay, which is just a box that can be found sliding back and forth on the ship, and is also completely indestructible. There's really not much you can do with this object, but if it does happen to squish you, it will deal you some damage, which I guess in a way is indicated by the Skull and Crossbones logo on it, meaning that it's sort of dangerous, but not really. Up next is the unique Super Mario Sunshine GameCube title, which contains tons of rare blocks that mostly pop up during the game's sub-areas. So many in fact that I'm quickly going to go through each one, explaining exactly how they function. These include the watermelon block, that really just acts like a normal obstacle but can be destroyed by a ground pound, which will produce a single coin. Blue and yellow blocks, which rotate in all different directions, making them tough to platform on. The orange blocks, where some of them move erratically and some stay stationary. The sand blocks, which is what the giant flying sandbird is primarily made of. The spotted Yoshi-like blocks, that move back and forth in random directions. The vanishing blocks, that disappear when Mario's on top of them, leaving you open to fall into the void. And finally, the Mario staple brick block, that acts the exact same, breaking away when it's hit from below, containing either a coin or a 1-up shroom. Blocks just aren't that common in the specific Mario entry that was more focused on platforming with your interesting FLUDD accessory than anything else. Nintendo would eventually return the series to its 2D roots with the release of New Super Mario Bros. For the dual-screen system, containing only 2 rare blocks I want to look at, starting with the Mega question mark block, which is the thing that stores the Mega Mushroom. This is the insanely overpowered power-up that transforms your character into a gigantic version of themselves, allowing you to rampage through the stage you're in, destroying literally anything in your path. These are only found in World 1-1, World 1-2, World 4-4, and World 7-5, which is a very limiting thing, although there is a glitch method of being able to store the shroom and use it wherever you please, which is a nice bonus. The other that only appears in one level, and only appears in this particular Mario game, is the spiked question mark block, being both a helpful object and a dangerous hazard. Here it's only found in World 6-3, where this block acts regularly at first, just giving you a coin or power-up for bonking it, but if you miss, it spins around, revealing spikes that if contacted will damage you. Kinda weird as it is an easy thing to avoid, but I guess it adds some risk? Next up is the Space Super Mario Galaxy Wii entry, that has one blockish thing that is rare as it only shows up in one place in the sliding ones, found within the Gold Leaf Galaxy. These are specifically on the Bump Appear planet. that's accessed during the Star Bunnies on the Hunt mission, where these transparent glass-like things slide around the area, being able to be broken by a ground pound, which gives you a few goodies for doing so. Nothing really crazy about this one, other than the more like a panel that slides around like a hockey puck than a block, but whatever. The second game in the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series came out for the Wii in 2009, having several rare blocks that I need to talk about, starting with one basically no good video game player will ever see in the Super Guide block. This only appears if you've died 8 times in a row in a single stage, where hitting it spawns in Luigi, who completes everything for you. There is one major downside in that it tarnishes your save file stars, but then again, good players are not even going to encounter this, so it doesn't really matter anyways. Also, if you just go back to that stage later and complete it normally, the save files will return to normal, so it's not even really a permanent thing. Next, I want to showcase the jump block, which is a thing that's very similar to the no blocks from previous entries, letting you bounce high to reach usually unreachable spots in the stage. Here, these are only found in World 7-5, the Lakitu enemy course, and Iggy's castle, and are primarily featured in that boss fight as a way to avoid the chain chomp and damage the Koopaling. Another rare block that's only used in a few places is the glow one, which when picked up, begins to emit light from within. This is needed as a way to guide yourself through the darkness of World 2-5, the World 5 Ghost House, and World 8-4, but in the end is just sort of gimmicky and doesn't really add much to the gameplay. Next is a really strange block that only shows up in World 4-5 called the Square Cloud, which when hit, transforms it into a Lakitu who begins to throw coins at you. This is odd as it appears alongside the regular spiny throwing Lakitu, and I'm not sure why a separate block is designated in containing a friendly version of this foe. One block that's a more difficult to platform on version than its regular form is the Ice Snake, which acts the same way as the regular one as they begin to move as you step on them, but here have the added layer of ice, making things slippery. In this title, 2 of them are found within the World 3 castle, which is actually a fairly difficult moment as the snake moves fast, and there's tons of hazards that can cause you to take damage. The final I want to mention from new Super Mario Bros. Wii is the Stretch Block, which first appeared as platforms in Super Mario World but were somewhat common, where here they only are in World 9-2. These platforms consist of 5 block segments that constantly extend and contract vertically or horizontally, acting as a thing you can maneuver on to get upwards or across large gaps. The sequel to the beloved Super Mario Galaxy entry came out for the Wii in 2010, where there's 2 rare blocks worth mentioning from it, starting with the chance cubes that can give you some pretty good prizes. Here I'm specifically talking about the ones carried by the Luma Lees on Starship Mario, where one will transform into a cube for 30 star bits, and another will transform into 5 in exchange for 100 coins. Here you have the opportunity to get star bits, 1 1-up mushroom, 3 1-up mushrooms, or 5 1-up mushrooms from it, which is a lot better than the regular more common lucky cubes, which can only produce a coin, a star bit, a 1-up, or an unfriendly Goomba. The other block from this game that's pretty rare are the pink blocks, here appearing in the Boo Moon, Bowser's Lava Lair, and Bowser's Galaxy Generator Galaxies, acting a lot like Snake blocks as it moves through the levels with you needing to stay on to make it to the star. This is very interesting as it's the first time this type of platforming can be seen in the 3D environment, at times even having to traverse upside down, which actually makes this a tough challenge to stay on and try to complete. Nintendo would perfectly blend aspects of the 2D and 3D realms with the release of Super Mario 3D Land for the 3DS, having 3 blocks that most would consider hard to come by, starting with the question mark boxes. Not to be confused with the question mark blocks, these blocks are actually wearable things that allow you to collect a lot of coins, that is, as long as they're over your head in the stage you find them in, not giving you any other special abilities, other than possibly gaining lives. This title also has a couple of assist blocks that act very differently than the Super Guide block we talked about previously, here popping up if you've died 5 or 8 times in a row in a single level. After the 5, the invincibility leaf becomes available, which of course turns you invincible while also transforming you into your Tanuki form, making it very easy for you to get to the flagpole. Now after 8, the P-Wing becomes available, which just teleports you right to the end of the stage, which is a terrible cop-out that goes against the point of even playing the game. Again, using both or any of these power-ups will cause your file stars to lose their shine, although again, going back and completing these stages as normal will fix things. Finally, I just want to mention this game's Super Note Block, which here acts the exact same as before, as it sends you to an out-of-the-way coin heaven to collect oodles of goodies. The one difference here is that the blocks are rainbow colored, are much larger, and are not invisible. So the few times they do appear, they're at least easy to see. Next is the third installment of the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series. Oddly given the moniker of New Super Mario Bros. 2, again bringing back the assist blocks, but only giving you access here to the invincibility leaf. This acts the same, appearing after 5 deaths in a row, but in this one, has the abilities that are similar to the P-Wing and Super Mario Bros. 3, allowing you to constantly remain fluttering in the air, on top of being invincible of course. The trampoline blocks are another rare type in this title, which are essentially note blocks as they let you bounce off them to get higher up in the stage. Nothing else really to say about these pretty basic ones, just that they only show up in the World 2 Ghost House and the Mushroom World Ghost House. One very special block that's only found within the secret rainbow stages are the giant versions of the roulette coin blocks, giving you a much larger prize if you bonk them correctly. The amount you can get includes 10, 50, or 100 coins, with the last one otherwise being known as a way to just get a 1-up. The final one I want to look at from this strange entry is the red version of the POW block, which doesn't allow you to pick it up at all, and has to be bonked off of in some way. These are great as they allow you to clear enemies and blocks at the same time, opening up your path to collect star coins and other goodies, so triggering them will always be useful to you. The finale of the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series initially came out for the Wii U, then was later re-released on the Switch, bringing back the Super Guide block, which assists you in completing any level you're struggling in. Luigi will complete things for you if you've died 5 times in a row. And for some reason in this entry, this won't tarnish your save files, which I find odd as it eliminates any risk to the gameplay, dumbing things down a lot. Another block we've actually already talked about that's also rare in this one is the glowing light block, which to reiterate, illuminates the dark areas it's usually found in. In this case, that's only in Rock Candy Mines 4, also called Light Blocks Dark Tower. Here, however, acting more as a platform, as it's not a grabbable object at all. The last block I want to talk about that can only be found during the game's boost mode are the ones that contain the 3-up moons, which is an item that grants you 3 lives for collecting it. These can only be uncovered by tapping them on the Wii U gamepad as the boost player. Although in the Switch version, they're just there in their predestined spots and you don't need to tap them, so you either need to know where they are or get sorta lucky. Another entry on the Wii U that was also later ported to the Nintendo Switch was Super Mario 3D World, bringing back the assist block for the last time, here only granting you access to the invincibility leaf. Dying 5 times in a row makes this appear for your use, although that's only in single player mode, as with 2 you'll need to die 12 times, with 3 players you'll need to die 18 times, and with a full squad, a whopping 24 times. The Mega Question Mark blocks, once again, appear as a rare thing in a Mario game, but here act way different than before, as now when they get hit, empty question mark blocks extend from them, allowing you to reach normally unreachable areas. These can only be found in Bowser's Bob-omb Brigade and Super Blockland, and in the extra Bowser's Fury game mode, as they are an important part of getting in and out of the Claw Swipe Coliseum. Finally, I want to mention a couple of boxes that don't show up much, but are both fairly useful in their own regards, starting with a light box that's found primarily in the ghost houses. Not only will wearing this box provide you with a source of light, but it will also allow you to kill any Boo foes caught in its strong beams, giving you a bit of an advantage in these somewhat tough stages. The other one is the cannon box, which is really awesome as it allows you to fire cannonballs, killing enemies, and clearing blocks if you land a hit. And oh yeah, they can be charged to increase the distance they fire, which is also helpful. Really, the only rare blocks in the absolutely massive Super Mario Odyssey are the hidden ones, as they're always placed in the most random spots and can give you great rewards for finding them. This becomes very useful during the Luigi's Balloon World game mode, as a few contain hearts, which gives you tons of coins, therefore increasing your time in either hiding or finding the balloon. Now, I've already talked about one rare block in Bowser's Fury in the Mega question mark blocks of Cat Swipe Coliseum. But there's actually another one that's unique to this interesting game mode in the Fury ones, which look a lot like normal blocks, but with Bowser's logo on them. These can only be broken by the King Koopa when he goes on a Fury rampage. With a group of them found in each area, when uncovered, gives you a cat shine for your troubles. It's not necessarily hard to complete this task, but Fury Bowser can be quite menacing, and his fire breath does do considerable damage, so at least be careful. The final and latest entry of the franchise is Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which was just recently released for the Nintendo Switch, having several weird rare blocks that need to show off, starting with the invisible character ones. These only appear on screen when the specific character associated with them comes near them, where other players can activate them still for a prize, but they won't show up, so you kinda have to guess or already know where they are. One that only appears in the Ghost House base level called Light Switch Mansion is the Light Switch block, which when bonked, causes the lights in the stage to turn on for a short period of time. This then reveals the location of any invisible blocks, as well as killing any boos caught in the light's rays, useful in clearing your path so you can more easily find secrets. Next is the pull block, which is a very interesting thing as when bonked, long pulls extend from it either vertically or horizontally, letting you use them to platform on by either grabbing them or by walking on top of them. These are only found in the pull block passage and Special World pull block allure stage, where during the wonder effects they all begin to sporadically activate and deactivate on their own, needing to be patient as you have to decide whether you're going to walk on top of them or grab them to scale on them. Next are the snow blocks, that are literally only found throughout the Fluff Puff Peaks Pokepede Pass stage, which can be platformed on to reach higher heights, or destroyed to uncover any hidden things. These are taken to the next level during the Wonder Flower effect, which forces a hectic blizzard to start, causing snow blocks to form everywhere, adding places for you to be able to traverse upwards and get the seed. Next is one that's only found in the Cruising with the Linking Lift stage called the Up and Down blocks, which when hit, fly vertically upwards in the air. This can be used as a method to interact with certain things at the top of the stage, including killing enemies and collecting items like the 10-piece flower coins. The final and rarest block of Super Mario Bros. Wonder is the race one, which okay, I get is a bit random, but honestly you could 100% this entire game and never even come across it. That's because it's only used during the multiplayer races as a way to start the event, which can only be accessed if you're playing with friends, letting you face off against them in a very competitive way. Of course, if you're just playing by yourself, you'll never ever see this thing, so that's what makes it rare in a sort of odd way. Alright, that's gonna be it for today's video guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. If you did, please leave a like, comment below what you thought about it, and of course subscribe to my channel. Also, please go follow my Instagram at Copycat Gamer. There I'll put some cool clips and items for my collection that you won't see anywhere else. Hope you guys all have a good day and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!